Welcome back, Bobcat fans. MSU comes off a big bye week, ready for their matchup with, I said big bye week again. Oh my gosh, I'm going to start laughing through this. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the R&R Catcast, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy. Welcome back, Bobcat fans. MSU comes off a bye week, ready for the matchup with the Fighting Hawks of Grand Forks. How are you doing tonight, Thorny?
I'm doing fantastic. It is pouring over here. I hope everyone listening can't hear the rain. I'm recording in my garage. It's loud, but I think I got it under control. Anyway, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's been raining here for 2 days straight. So
yeah, pretty much the same thing here.
Yeah, just rolling. It hits you first, and then it rolls over the state, dries up in the middle, and then hits Spokane. And man, we get it too. So fall rains, man. That's all we get over here.
Well, if it's still raining here, according to that logic, you're still gonna be raining like 2 days from now.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Right on, dude. Hey, so we have a smaller segment for you tonight. The plan is for this week is to kind of have two special segments. We're gonna recap the bye, give you some reasons for optimism, reason for concern, and then later on this week we're going to do our preview for North Dakota, as well as have a special guest.
How does everyone out there like the fact, we were just talking about this before we started recording, that we name all of our segments exactly what the segment is going to contain? If anyone can help us name our segments, please let us know.
We are the most boring.
We're so boring. Look at that. Our name is the R&R Catcast, Ryan and Ryan. We're not exactly the most creative types out there. So if someone can help us name our segments, please help us.
Yeah. Send them to us.
Yes.
Okay.
Send them to us. If we like it, we'll give you a koozie, a golden koozie to name the segment.
But you have to send us your contact info, BP Cats. Come on now.
Come on, BP Cats. British Petroleum Cats.
Thorny, let's do a little show outline. We're talking right now. That's our intro. So we're going to go into our beer next. We're going to talk news, man. Where did Cats go in the polls? What are our power rankings for the Big Sky right now? And
Crazy Big Sky.
Oh my gosh. It is wild. After that, we're going to talk some, just like what we said, some reasons for optimism, reasons for concern. And then we'll end with our golden koozie. I got an extensive buy or sell for you tonight, Tony. I geeked out on it a little bit.
Nice.
I might have like seven questions ready.
Nice.
Ready for that.
I am ready. That sounds fun.
Okay, man. So what's on tap for you tonight?
All right. So you called me out last week for drinking the same beer 2 times out of the last 3 episodes. So I put a little bit more thought into it. I got the Global Mutt Baltic Porter from the Wander Brewing Company, which is up in Bellingham. Never heard of it. It is a Baltic Porter brewed with coffee beans, cocoa, and chocolate. So it's kind of a sweeter, I wouldn't say dessert type beer, but porter. That's kind of classic porter stuff, and it's actually really good. It comes in a pint. It's a big bottle. I like it quite a bit. It's got a really nice flavor to it, but it still rates decently, like on the bitterness scale. It's not like real light or anything. It's delicious. I would definitely buy it again. What do you got over there?
Well, first, I really like porters, and like it's turning into porter season, isn't it?
You and I agree on a beer?
Whoa! That is groundbreaking. Holy cow, that is true.
Have you seen that? It's like a Venn diagram where you're like IPAs, I'm like lagers, and in the center is like porters.
Oh man, I'm gonna make a Venn diagram. No. Being a math teacher, I love that reference right there. I guess with Venn diagrams you can use them whatever, right?
Yeah, this is going to go on Twitter. We're going to make a graphic for this for sure.
That beer, any porter I've had, has always tasted better on nitro. Perry Street does a coffee porter, and they put it on nitro over here. Amazing. If you can find those porters, see if you can find one on nitro. Give it a shot.
Just to throw it out there, I'm definitely getting a real strong chocolatey aftertaste here. Didn't really notice it at first, but there it is. Oh, yeah.
Nice, dude. I'm excited for you. Okay, on to me. So I have some holdovers from our trip from Montana. I stopped in Missoula to gas up when I was coming back, and I got myself a 6-pack of Bitterroot IPA from the Bitterroot Brewing Company in Hamilton, Montana. One of my favorites. You don't see the blue cans out here as much. When I say blue cans, those people who know Bitterroot IPA, it's a nice mountain scene with like a majestic peak in the background, and it's just a classic bitter IPA that from Bitterroot that I know you would not enjoy, but I sure do. Yeah, IPA me tonight, you porter. I'm pretty sure we're going to be playing this ping pong game of IPAs and stouts and porters and pale ales all every season for the rest of our life. I'm pretty much sure that's going to happen. But you know what, Thorny, I will try to put in a porter or a stout into our cat cast in this winter season, fall winter season. How about that?
I appreciate that. I appreciate the olive branch there.
Yeah. Well, I like porters and stouts. They're just not my go-to. If I had a choice, like if I had to rank my beers, let's be honest, it's going to be pale ale, IPA, probably just like an American lager. After that, I would go stout and then porter. No, brown, stout, and then porter.
Oh, that's a nice list.
Yeah. Now you know.
Now you push me on the spot. I don't know. I'd probably go stouts. Porters are up there. Lagers. Hefeweizen. I enjoy Hefeweizens quite a bit. Yeah, IPAs are going to be on the bottom. Pretty much start at anything that goes up to about 50 IBUs on the bitterness scale. It's about the cap.
So I wonder sometimes, Thorny, I actually think about this. Like if you and I lived in the same spot and we actually, got together for beers and on a regular basis, if we would like blend our tastes, that you and I would just be like, okay, try that. And then all of a sudden we end up drinking the same beer.
It's possible. There'd definitely be some easier to persuade me to try some beers that like right now, like I'm not going to buy an IPA because I don't like them. But if someone were with me and was giving me sips of, maybe I'd change my mind.
Yeah. Come on over, buddy. We got plenty of room in Spokane for you.
Hey, we should go to the Eastern game next year.
Is it in Spokane?
Cheney, yeah.
Or Cheney, yeah. Okay, yeah. I would go anyways. So yeah, for sure. And are we going down to
2 Bobcat games we got to watch?
Yeah, we're gonna go down to Pullman or Moscow.
I think. Are you talking about Idaho? They're in Bozeman, I think, next year.
Oh, are they?
I think so.
Okay, never mind. That's surprising me because we just played them last year at home, and so we're not returning the favor.
No, and I actually, because Chris Hammond, Tubbs of the Club, said he listened to our last podcast. He's like, "You guys don't want to go to Western Oregon for your Gold Rush game," and he pointed to a date on the schedule, and you look at the date, and it's of course Idaho at Montana State. And I even said like, "Oh yeah, that'd be awesome." And I asked him like, "But why are you coming to our place again?" He just said like Idaho and North Dakota screwed the schedule up. That was his only response. So I'm not entirely sure what that means, but yeah, it appears that they come to us 2 times, not 2 times in a row because it was last year, but 2 times of the 2 times we've played them.
Yeah. So, Thorny, I think the next game we go to in Bozeman should be the night game, whether that's Gold Rush or some early season, home opener. That's my vote for right now.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to go to a night game for sure. Like I don't know if that'll be Long Island or Dixie State, probably the two options for that, which are both not awesome sounding opponents, but still fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be an awesome experience. I mean, Gold Rush, most electric atmosphere right there. So
I finally get to buy a Gold Rush t-shirt and wear it to a Gold Rush game.
We'll plan it up. All right, let's move on to some news, dude. Cats go up to number 9, and they cracked the top 10. They were at 12 last week, and like every week, man, the top 25 in the FCS is so unpredictable.
Chaos.
So unpredictable. Yeah.
Not only did like the 8, 9, and I think the 10th ranked teams all lost, they all got smoked to unranked teams. Like Towson lost. I don't know who Towson lost to, but I know Furman got just whooped by the Citadel. Like
no one saw that coming.
40-something to teens. Yeah, that was just out of nowhere because Furman's been playing pretty good all year. So, yeah, it was just a crazy week. And The Bobcats reap the benefit of not losing and not winning, going up 3 spots from just sitting there tweeting our thumbs. So, hey, no complaints here. But here we go again with our conversation of, are we a top 10? We spent 1 week out of the top 10, and we got right back into it without even playing a game. That's how we do it.
Yeah. I mean, just by proximity, man. We just hang around that top 10 and just let everybody cannibalize themselves. And all of a sudden, we just find a spot right there, just humming along right between 8, 9, and 10 all season. I'm cool with that.
How could I possibly forget the number 5 ranked team in the country got beat down in a certain city in California? One team shall remain nameless, but the other team, that Sacramento State. Yeah, good job, Sac State. Thank you. You employed Colin on our podcast, and I think he came through for us. So thank you, Colin. If you're listening, we attribute that to you, my man.
Stingers up.
Stingers up. I'm sorry, that cracks me up. That's a pretty funny.
Oh man, how jealous right now are you of Sac State, dude? Just how much they are just wrecking shop and just how good they look, man. Troy Taylor is just so good. I just love watching Sac State. I'm like a closet Sac State fan now.
A little bit, yeah. It's just every year, like one random Big Sky team just catches fire and just takes the league by storm, and it's kind of annoying. It's kind of cool at the same time, but I guess that's the product of having such a huge ass stupid league.
Yeah, we should talk about that sometime.
Sorry, a little bitterness at the end there.
Yeah,
too many teams in this league.
Right? We need to discuss that maybe in the off season. How about that?
Sounds good.
Okay. So you didn't vote in the power rankings this week, did you?
No.
Neglected your duty.
Nope. I'll tell you what I would have done. It would have been Sac State, Weber, the Grizz, the Bobcats. Number 5 was a real hard one. I was like, I want to reward Portland State for what they're doing, but they're beating up on crap, so I probably would have put Davis at 5th.
Okay. Pretty close to what I had. I had Sac State first, Weber second. I put the Cats above U of M. And then I had Eastern right there after, UC Davis, NAU, Portland State, Cal Poly, Idaho, Northern Colorado, Idaho State, and Southern Utah.
You got Idaho pretty far down there.
Yeah, man, Idaho.
They're hard to figure out, aren't they?
I'm disgusted with them. Yeah, it's like who are you guys? Like they're just like this. Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm literally a loss for words right now. How do you describe Idaho?
Well, they started their defensive lineman quarterback this time around.
I saw him running.
You see that man?
He looked like a pudgy guy.
That's a dude. Yeah, he's a big man.
Is that a Troy Anderson move right there?
No, that's more. I'm trying to think. There was a team that had an FBS team that moved a guy over there. It's a pretty big dude. But yeah, he's definitely not breaded. That's not the right kind of weight.
Okay.
But his quarterback doesn't matter. Like, pitchers aren't, a picture of physical fitness. So quarterbacks don't need to be either if you're not going to run it. Of course, he ran it and stiff armed a dude. So, hey, he's doing all right.
What happened to Mason Petrino?
I have no idea. Chris Hammond, what happened to Mason Petrino? Was he just finally benched? I'm hoping he was finally benched.
Get at us, Chris. Come on now. Okay,
right.
You ready to move on, buddy?
Yep, let's this is going to be a weird episode. We have no game to recap, so we're just going to kind of ramble. So,
hold on, Thorny. You said before we were talking, you said you wanted to maybe talk a little bit about the press conference, about some stuff that's not UND related.
Well, the only thing that kind of came out of that would be the injuries. The only person he named by name was Logan Jones, but he alluded to some injuries just aren't going to get better, so you have to assume that he's talking about Troy Anderson, number 1, Logan Jones, because that's what you mentioned, and probably Isaiah and Fonzie. Those are probably just injuries for guys that aren't going to be able to be 100% at any point this season unless we get some serious rest, which maybe if you rest them for Southern Utah and Northern Colorado. But point is, I don't think anybody of those guys, the 3 guys that are huge contributors for the team that we need to be at full strength, I don't think they're going to be at full strength anytime this year. So that was kind of a downer. And the other thing, let's see. Do you have any other comments about injuries? Is that kind of your takeaway from it as well?
Yeah, I really want to ask you a question, but I'm not going to because we could go about 20 minutes into it on Troy Anderson, but I'm sure we're going to talk about that soon.
Probably.
Yeah. Shouldn't have said it. That's bad radio right there.
Yep, well, that's all right. We're not known for our cohesiveness, I don't think.
No.
The other thing that was kind of comical to me was interesting too. So it's funny, but Jeff Choate's rant about late games in California. Basically, his summation of his entire rant was every single team in this entire conference should play their games between noon and 2 p.m. What do you think about that? That was a pretty interesting comment because that would include our night games. Like it's any better for a team from Sacramento to come up to Montana and play a 6 p.m. game under the lights.
I'll tell you what, Jeff Choate got a little chippy there at the very end. And so I think he was just building momentum, and then all of a sudden he's just shooting from the hip when he says that. So I'm not going to put too much stock in it. I do like the night games. I see what he's saying. If we have to travel to Sac State, San Luis Obispo, anywhere over there, and we're playing a night game, and they're coming from Mountain Standard Time and Pacific Time with the long travel, he's just saying they have an advantage playing late game. So, yeah, he just got on a roll, Jeff Choate. But, he comes out and saying, I want to be on record saying this, and then he just smiles and laughs at the same time. And it's funny in the press conference, too. He had mentioned a couple times about, I'm probably going to get fined for saying this. I think he said that.
Yeah, that was funny. It's like, go ahead. Yeah, whatever. Go ahead and find me.
Yeah.
Which is funny, but yeah. Well, it wouldn't be a press conference if Jeff Choate didn't rant about something.
That guy can talk. I love watching him talk.
I love watching him talk. I love listening to him talk. I hope that's not a downside for him because he's a good talker, and eventually, people who talk have to match the talking. But man, I love listening to him talk, and I will always love listening to him talk.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of today, man. We're going to talk about the reasons for optimism so far, and we're going to talk about some reasons for concern. You were going to rename this segment, is the beer half empty or half full?
Somebody help us name our segments, please.
Thorny, I'll let you start with whatever you want, and we'll play off each other, and then hopefully we have some good disagreements here. How about that?
All right. Well, might as well start out with the optimism because why not? This is a fan podcast. We got to be positive. The first thing that just popped into my mind, the reasons to be optimistic about the Bobcats for the rest of the season is that we're winning all these games, and I still think we're so inexperienced at certain key positions that are only going to get better as more reps come into play. Quarterback, linebacker, cornerback, and also just a specific guy that I see improving, Amandre Williams. Like this is his real first action in his college career. And he was a guy that I think a lot of people expected to dominate right away, and he didn't necessarily, but I see him getting better and better. And the better he gets, the better an defensive line is going to get. So I just really, just to sum that up, I just think inexperience at those positions, linebacker, quarterback, defensive end, and cornerback, I think is one big reason to be optimistic because we're winning games with these guys all still kind of learning as they go, and they're only going to get better and better as they get more reps because we've got a lot of like first-year starters kind of playing for the first time, and they're all young guys too. A lot of them, like just younger guys who haven't been in college that long.
Well, kind of forces your hand a little bit when you think about guys like Demarius Hosey. Like, what are we going to do with him? So we're talking about young guys developing. We got that 4-game limit for redshirt rules. What do you want to do with Hosey there?
I kind of feel like we need Hosey to play just due to injuries at the running back position. I mean, Logan Jones is going to be basically a pain management thing. Like if he's feeling good enough, he's going to be out there. But if it's just too much, he's going to be sitting down. If Afonse's not going and Troy's not really playing, I was hoping Troy Anderson would play some running back this year, but it's basically been offensive side of the ball, Troy Anderson, Wildcat. Have we really seen him at running back very much?
Maybe 2 or 3 plays I can recall.
Almost all of his offensive snaps have been exclusively at quarterback. So he's kind of out of the conversation about running back. I like Shane Perry and I like Lane Sumner, but if those are the 2 guys you're relying on down the stretch, like we just got to have another dude in there. And I think at some point you have to just kind of look at it and say, hey, Fonzie's not going to go. Troy's not playing here. We need a running back. I think Hosey's the next guy that's going to have to probably step up at the season. Unfortunately, I don't want to use that old cliche phrase, burn his red shirt, but I think we're going to have to play him.
Yeah, I think unfortunately we will. It'd be nice to save him, but I don't know. I was thinking about that today because we're getting thin at running back, right? And Troy Anderson is, hobbled up with this lingering injury. We just we have well, I mean, Hosey is just different in the fact that he brings more speed. He's more explosive. And I feel like Sumner and Logan Jones and Shane Perry are all kind of very similar. And so I think we just needed something different back there. And I think Hosey gives us that option.
Well, one big thing for him could be pass protection because that was something that Perry and Sumner struggled with mightily against Sac State. And Jeff Choate said that out loud. He said those were two things that, or those were something that led to a lot of the QB pressures. They didn't even like go to the right side of where the pressure was. It wasn't real pretty. And Jeff Choate said in the press conference he had a good chat with those guys, which was not fun for Lane Sumner or Shane Perry when he says I had a chat with them. I can't imagine that was a real fun chat. But I don't know what I'm getting at is I don't know if Hosey is going to be good in the pass protection scenario because that's something that young running backs typically struggle with because that's something more of a savvy type guy does well, but we may not need him for that situation. We're going to need someone just to kind of pound a defense, and that's our style of play. And right now, Lane Sumner and Shane Perry aren't that big bruising guy that we need to kind of pound teams into submission like is kind of our MO so far. So I think we might have to have him just solely fact on his size and physicality.
Yeah, maybe some Jahari Martin in there.
Yep, that's the other option. That is the other option.
Okay, so I got another reason for optimism. Chase Benson and Derek Marks are playing at an elite level right now, probably the best that they can play. But I don't feel like Stirk, Mondre Williams, or Jason Skrempos are. So here's my theory. Those three that I just named start to play at an elite level and meet Chase Benson and Derek Marks by late November, our line could be looking really, really good.
No, I could see that too. And it's funny to say about Bryce Stirk because he definitely started off on fire, but one of my reasons for concern is the fact that 2 out of the last 3 games against traditional offenses, NAU and Sac State, 0 combined stack. That is not a stat you want to see. So that kind of just goes back to Bryce Stirk is kind of dipping down a little bit. But I still think he's got that good football and he can play at a higher level. So if he gets to that higher level, then yes, that is certainly a room for optimism. But yeah, my concern was that we're not getting any pressure on the quarterback right now.
Well, hold on. Don't go into the concerns quite yet. Let's just keep into optimism.
Hey, you said play off each other.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. All right. So give me another reason for optimism.
Quite simply, Jeff Choate teams have proven they get better as the year progresses. I mean, that's just a fact. Whether you're 0-9 and you win your last 2, that's improvement. So I think it's safe to say, and he's been on record saying that this year that he said that I've proven that my teams get better. So I think that we will get better just based on that fact. And a lot of that I think is attributed to the fact that he rotates so many guys, which is kind of like frustrating and there's no continuity and sometimes, and you wonder if he's subbing too many guys. But what that certainly does is keeps guys fresh down the stretch. So we need to rely on a guy. They're going to be fresh, much more fresh than the team we're going up against who doesn't have the depth that we do. So building depth and rotating guys, if you can win games early on, is going to pay huge dividends down the stretch.
Oh, for sure. The rotating guys thing has been kind of a topic of conversation with some of the media members. And it's something I hadn't really thought about at length until this year. I can see both sides. If you're just keeping your starters in and just grooving with the guys that have your best 11. But I can also see the benefit in changing the guys out and doing, building the depth wherever you can. So I think the way Jeff Choate's going about it with this revolving door with some of these positions, when we get into these late situations in November and hopefully into the playoffs, I think that's really going to benefit us. Hopefully we won't have any nagging injuries to our starters, and it will be more fresh all around.
Well, that's the one way to negate injuries is you get guys with a bunch of experience. So then if a guy does go down, his backup has already at least played a handful of reps several times in each of the last 3 games or something. That's not coming straight in off the bench, not complete baptism by fire. So that does help that as well.
Okay.
All right. I think it's your turn for a reason for optimism.
Okay, I'll give you one more. All right.
The beer is half full.
We're 5-2 going into 3 winnable games. That alone, we could have the chance of going 8-2 in the next 3 games. That alone, right there, is a reason for optimism. So we have UND coming up this week. Thereafter, we play Southern Utah, and then we go to Greeley, which is a
Never good.
never a fun game.
It's always a challenge.
Yeah, like in Greeley, Northern Colorado's been kind of salty lately. They're not winning, but they're not too far away from winning, from actually eclipsing that win column. So
Northern Colorado is a perfect example of if you have a quarterback, you give yourself a chance to win any game.
Okay,
because Jacob Nip, if he's healthy, they're going to be a problem. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and by all means, the Cats should win the next 3 games. But if anybody's listening, you're probably a Bobcat fan. You know what it feels like to be a Bobcat fan. When we were supposed to do stuff, doesn't mean we always do it. So it's week to week. It's always the week to week in the Big Sky. There's never an easy game, but we have a legit chance of going 8-2 and then solidifying at least in a large bid into the playoffs in the next 3 weeks.
Speaking of week to week, how are you feeling after the Sac State loss now that we've had some more time to digest it and considering what Sac State did to the Grizz? Do you feel any different?
No, I don't. I still feel like it's a missed opportunity. We had Sac State at home. Sac State's just buzzing right now. But how cool it would have been would it just to be knocked them off. We had more yards than them passing. I can't remember if rushing. I think they eclipsed us on rushing.
We had more total yards for sure.
Yeah, we didn't play terrible against Sac, and I don't want to sit here and rehash that, but I don't feel terribly different. Like okay, so they just whomped the Grizz. Awesome, I love that. I mean, that was cool, but it doesn't make me feel all that much better about our loss against them.
I feel slightly better just from time passage. Like they expose us in so many ways, but it's one loss. I mean, it's rare for any team in the Big Sky to go through the Big Sky undefeated. So, I mean, it's a loss. We're 5-1 in FCS play. It's not the end of the world, but it felt kind of like that last week just because of how badly they dominated. But hey, that's just what Sac State's doing to everybody right now. So maybe that changed my perspective a little bit, but I'm not as down as I was. But yeah, we certainly still have a lot of things to fix, which is going to be in our concern segment.
Let's go into those. Let's transition to the concerns.
Are we going to go back to optimism, or are we just done?
Well, we can bounce back if you want. That's fine by me.
Okay, let's just bounce back and forth now. So do you want to start reason concern?
Yes. The very first thing, we are still dead last in third down conversions. We are 32 out of 101 tries on third down. Dismal, about 32% right there.
Did you type that exactly that way? Because I'm looking at my notes. It says still dead last in the league. I had the word still in there as well.
Gosh, it's just so bad.
That's my number one.
2 years running. Fix this. Matt Miller, what the heck are you doing? Sorry, I'm getting a little... I'm showing a little...
Well, that's where having a quarterback kind of rears his ugly head, right? Like, you can't get bailed out on 3rd and 8 if you can't have an accurate quarterback.
Okay, so yes, I'm tired of sucking on 3rd down. It is so bad because if we don't get... It's like this, Thorny. If we have like a 1 or 2 yard gain on 1st down, I already start feeling like, damn it, we're gonna get him 3rd and long, and here we go again. We're like Cal Poly, man. If you knock us off our schedule, we're screwed. You know who's first in 3rd down conversions?
Sac State.
I don't think so. I think it's Montana.
If you ask that question, you better damn well know what the answer is.
Well, I looked at it last night and then I double guessed myself. I'm pretty sure it's the Grizzlies. So.
Okay, fair enough.
So man, yeah, it was something we really harped on over the summer. That and then defending the 3rd down, we've gotten marginally better. We're like 7th right now in the conference out of 13 teams in defending the 3rd down. But we are dead last in converting third downs. That is just unacceptable in that state right here. If we want to go anywhere in the playoffs, we need to improve on that. We need to improve on our third down efficiency. That is a must.
Especially with the type of offense we run. Like, the more plays we run, the more we're going to pound a defense into submission. But if we can't get off the field on third down on defense, that gives our offensive line, our running backs, less time to wear teams down. So it's a huge thing that impacts the entire team.
Man, gets me fired up, dude.
Well, what gets me fired up is we just cannot play a full 4 quarters of football. We always have 1 or 2 quarters where we just play sloppy. And it's not necessarily penalties, because our penalties have actually improved. We're actually, I think, top 4 in penalties per game, like penalty yards per game in the Big Sky. So it's not penalties necessarily, but it's just sloppy play. We just look uninspired sometimes out there. And I think that's the reason for concern, that we just can't focus for 4 straight quarters, because our talent level is pretty damn good, but we just can't seem to put it together for an entire game. And that's certainly something that concerns me.
I think that's a direct criticism of Jeff Choate. I mean, we praise Jeff Choate for so many things here, but he does have some flaws, and I think that's one of his major flaws right there.
I mean, it's consistently the same way. I think Jeff Choate's consistent in a lot of ways. That is one thing that has been consistent that's a negative. It seems to be that, I don't know if that's a hallmark of his teams, but it's getting close.
What does it take to fix that, though? I mean, we're spotting teams like, and that's the thing. This year, the trend has been we're just spotting teams' points from the get-go, and it's just super frustrating, right? Like, you never have Jeff Choate's teams either win on these like nail biters or like these comebacks, or else we blow them out. How many times have you seen a Jeff Choate team go through the game with like a 14-point lead and just continue that for 4 quarters, or something like a comfortable lead? That just seemingly hasn't happened. Like, we'll play inferior opponents like Norfolk State or a Wagner last year, and we'll just cruise. But that, by and large, has been the exception.
Nope. And then the inverse of what you just said, like spotting teams 14 points. Well, Cal Poly would finally start off okay, get build a lead, and then they let them right back in the game. So it's just like, hang on to a lead, and like Sac State does that really well. But maybe that just goes back to the fact that we just can't convert on third down. Like, if you convert on third down, you can hold on to leads.
It's so true. It just seems like it's almost like the Ides of March. You can tell it's coming. You're like, you can feel it, can't you? It's like you and I were standing on the sideline on homecoming, and we were like just predicting, like, okay, we're gonna go 3 and out here, and Sac State's gonna drive the field. They're gonna eat up clock. It was just almost like we were just like predicting the future, and it was just, we're prophesying what's happening, and it just happens right in front of us. And we don't have to be in Bobcat Stadium to feel that. It's something like you can just feel it, and it seems like it happens every single game, and I don't like that.
No, it's not a good feeling. And speaking of like predictive, we've talked about this. We don't need to cover this too much, but tendency is definitely a concern. And that's obviously something Jeff Choate emphasized heavily this bye week, is just trying to keep our tendencies under control offensively, defensively. As he said in the press conference, we're not trying to reinvent the team. We're not going to be a team that comes out there and starts throwing the ball 70 times a game, but they got to figure out a way to be a little bit less predictable on offense and defense.
Oh, yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Matt Miller has dialed up in the offense. K9 too. Jeff Choate had talked about, we blitz like 30% of the time, somewhere in the 30s. I don't agree with that. I think we need to blitz more, because we're not getting home.
We've harped on that for sure. Like, you and I both agree that we need to be a little more aggressive, and if it's not working at the front 4, you got to start blitzing. But that's another thing I want to talk about real quick, that I've actually, back to a reason for optimism, is because Matt Miller and K9 are still pretty young coaches. Like, they're still learning. They're still making mistakes. They're both basically, Matt Miller, has maybe a full season's worth of games under his belt at this point, because he did the last 6 last year, and the first, about a full season right now. So you think about that. He's had like 1 season as an offensive coordinator, and K9, this is like his first real season having true control of the defense, aside from that whole Rob Marshall. He was a safety. Jamie Marshall, the defensive co-defensive coordinator thing, but there's still a lot of room for them to grow. So I think that's actually a reason for optimism is I talked about inexperience at player positions. I think inexperience at those two key coaching spots is something that will only improve as they get more reps as well.
I hadn't thought about that. That's a good point, though, Thorny. I mean, some of these coaches in the Big Sky have coached for numerous different teams, right? And they've just been like these salty veterans who've been around for 20 plus years. I guess some young coordinators.
Sac State has like Craig Paulson, who used to be like the Grizz O-line coach, and they have Andy Thompson. I mean, some of these teams have like just veterans of the Big Sky Conference that have just been around, and that's worth something.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Good one, Thorny. I just got one more reason for concern. How about it's our QB rotation and QB identity?
Thank you.
Like, what are we doing? Like, there's no normalcy there, and it's really causing us like this. Just like we can't get into a rhythm in our offense because I feel like we're always out of rhythm. Like there's like if we're gonna go with Tuckerovic, let's go with Tuckerovic and then use him as a facilitator of the ball. But if we're gonna go with Travis Johnson, let's just go with Travis Johnson. But this inconsistency with who's taking the snaps, it's kind of like going back a couple weeks. You said, "Are we introducing or are we making a new offense?" Yeah, we are. You called it the ground raid. Well, it is the ground raid, but it's also not something that's very sexy right now because we seem really out of sorts in offense right now.
It's disjointed. It feels like we don't know what we want to do with our prototypical sized quarterbacks. Like, all right, Tuckerovic, what do we get? All right, let's just bring him in, and okay, we'll send him out to the wide receiver spot, send him out to the edge. Like, okay, that's useful. I don't know if we're setting it up for something, but it seems like just a wasted player out there. Like, no one thinks it's going to him. It's just, I think game management of the rotating quarterbacks needs to keep improving and being honed in. I don't know what the answer is because it's clearly finicky, if you will, but it seems like we're just not utilizing the system that we try to run correctly at this point.
No, it's super frustrating. And, the taste that I feel in my mouth is still Sac State. So, I mean, that's a telltale sign right there.
Okay, I'm looking through my notes here, and I think that covers pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about. How about you?
Yeah, I just turned the page, and I'm looking at my buy or sell, so I think it's about that time.
Yep, we're about 40 minutes in here. We weren't sure how long this would go, but it was a kind of a fun episode where we pretty much just got to just talk about whatever. We didn't have a game recap. We're not doing a game preview. Just kind of rambling about our musings about the program. So let's move on to the buy or sell that you've crafted so masterfully.
All right, Thorny, I got 7 questions for you. Are you ready for the hot seat?
All right, let's do it.
All right, buy or sell, Thorny. I have confidence Matt Miller will evolve in his play calling this season.
Buy. I think I pretty much just kind of said that in my reasons for optimism because I still think he's young and I think he's learning and I think he's going to I think he learned a lot here this last week and going into the bye week, just looking at himself, evaluating what he's done, and I think he's going to definitely improve.
Okay. All right. I'm going to mark you down as a buy. Give him a
buy.
Number 2, Thorny. SEMO was our best win in the first half.
Oh, that's tough. I'm going to still buy that because I don't really know how good SEMO ultimately is, but they're still like the highest ranked, like Sagarin rated team we've beaten. So I'll buy it.
All right. Number 3.
And they just knocked off Jacksonville State. That helped us for sure. That helped that win look better.
Any other thoughts on SEMO?
Nope. Sorry.
Okay.
Carry on.
Number 4. Overall, I am happy with where the Bobcats are at today.
I'm going to buy that. I think overall, where we're sitting, 5-2, top 10, going into the bye week down the stretch, like I'm happy with that. Personally, I'm happy with it.
Okay, I'm gonna cut a couple out because one of our golden koozie questions mimics one of mine. So here's the last one, Thorny. No, actually, I got 2 more. Okay. So the last 2 are non-Bobcat related. I'm taking a page out of you. All right. So here's the first one. Fall and winter beers are greater than spring and summer beers.
Bye. I love dark stouts, browns, Oktoberfest beers. Yes, buying it.
Okay, last one. Buy or sell, Thorny. I'm going to watch the World Series.
Sell it. Maybe a game 7, but it's not a baseball guy. Just not.
That sucks for you. All right.
Oh,
Thorny.
so you just answered that, by the way. I wonder if Foley's going to buy that.
Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. We'll see what happens. All right.
I'm much more likely to watch the Stanley Cup.
Okay. I can get behind that. All right. Buy or sell. Ryan, Foley. I have confidence Matt Miller will evolve his play calling in the rest of the season. I'm going to sell. He hasn't shown me much yet that I can really feel like he has really forward-minded progression. I don't know. So it's been about a year. I was thinking about this. It's been about a year since he took over, correct? I mean, we've been around this.
Yeah, right around there.
About right around a year. I don't see a lot new from when he first started to now. And it's this, I think he's kind of handcuffed with our QB situation. And I don't know what Jeff is telling him in his ear that he must do. It's kind of funny. I kind of watch. I keep an eye on the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not a Dallas Cowboys fan. I'm an admitted Bengals fan. Had been my whole life.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I know it's really hard right now. But I watch the Cowboys because of Kellen Moore and his connection with Matt Miller. And Kellen Moore's the offensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys, and so I'm like watching their offense. It's like, I wonder if Matt Miller's in there, just writing stuff down. I wish I had confidence in him. I thought he was a better receivers coach than he is an offensive coordinator. And, he's a young guy, but holy cow, I have not been impressed. And, if I'm optimistic about it, I just don't feel it right now. So I'm going to sell that I have confidence in him evolving his play calling, but I'll gladly eat that statement if he proves me wrong. Number 2, SEMO was our best win in the first half. I'm going to sell that as well. I think NAU was our best win just because we hadn't beaten NAU with Jeff Choate, and we just came back and just pounded them in the third quarter there. And I don't feel like that was some of the best football I've seen out of the Bobcats. They were elite at that time. I think SEMO was a fantastic win. It was underneath the lights. It was a top 25 team. They were second, 38-17. SEMO 56-21. 49-31. NAU. I'm going to go with NAU, but that was a close buy for me, or a close sell. Excuse me. Third one. Overall, I am happy with where the Bobcats are at today. Again, I'm going to sell. I am not happy with where the Bobcats at. I think we have the potential to be much better than where we are. And this solely has to do with our offense. I think it's okay to be 9 or 10. I'm sure anybody would want to be that. And so I am taking that for granted a little bit because of what we've built. But I don't feel confident in our offense at all right now. And I have more concerns than I am happy with the Bobcats today. All right, flip the page. Last 2. Fall and winter beers are greater than spring and summers. I'm going to go just opposite of you. I'm going to sell that, Thorny. I really like the spring beers when they start putting out the hoppy flavors, the pale ales, and then just the full bevy of summer beers, the IPAs, all the hop flavors. Man, I just love it. So I'm going to go that. I do love my winter beers, but I would have to buy spring and summer more so. And the last one, I will watch the World Series. I'm going to buy that. I am a baseball fan. I'm a Cincinnati Reds fan. 1990 was the last time we went to the World Series. And so if the Reds aren't in it, I typically root for the National League. So I'll be rooting for the Nationals over the Astros this week. And
I don't even know who's in it.
I just told you.
I know. I'm saying this is news to me.
Okay. All right. Well,
that's how big a baseball fan I am.
That is the buy or sell for this segment. Woo! We were pretty much dead opposite of each other. And last week we were in concert with each other. So that was good. I like that.
Well, I think it just boils down to the fact that I said I felt better coming off after this weekend, after our loss to Sac State, and you actually seem to feel like you've felt worse. You feel more pessimistic than you did after our last loss to Sac State.
Yeah, I told you. I texted you earlier. I'm feeling like the more and more I think about it, like the more and more I have real concern for a second half collapse, and it has everything to do with their offense. And so, Saturday for me is a big game because I really need to see some progress in our offensive identity or just the ability to run the ball again and not have these lapses in order to feel comfortable with where we're going.
We have like one buzzsaw game against Sac State, and now you're predicting a second half collapse.
Man, it's the cardiac cats coming out of me, dude. It's what we've been conditioned to. So it's until I can see it. I mean, I do think we're gonna go. I'm not giving it a say, man. Yeah, that's how I feel. So
That's
yes,
right.
I would say you're right on that.
Sounds good. Well, anything else you want to talk about on this random rambling episode?
No, we got to talk about one golden koozie question, man.
Golden koozie questions. Absolutely, of course. So why don't you read the first one? I'll read the second one because I got to pull it up real fast because I can't remember exactly what it was. You go first.
Okay, so this is from Pete Burfening from Twitter. After the Sac State game, he tweeted at me. He says, "Do you get more joy from the Grizz beat down on the bye week or the Cats win or a Cats win? Sometimes I wonder about myself." I'm going to go with a Cats win. It's awesome to see the Grizz lose. I love it, but I'm too much of a Cat fan, and I love to see the Cats win. So I'm going to go with the Cats win.
Oh, that's an easy one for me. Like the Cats winning is always better to me. I'm definitely not one of those fans who like. I just don't think that's a great mindset for a program to like prefer to have your rival lose than you beat anybody. Like I can't get behind that. I'm all about the Cats. I don't focus too much on what the Grizz are doing. Like I'm a Bobcat fan and I'm rooting for us to win always.
Pete, I did watch that game. So did Thorny. Don't let him lie to you. We were loving it.
That's not the question. The question was, would I rather watch us win or the Grizz lose? We had a bye week. I was sitting there just enjoying every second of that. So don't get me wrong. I love when the Grizz get beat down. So
yeah, UNLV Bobby right there. The refuse to lose mentality. Where was that at?
I did. I did sneak a peek over on eGriz just out of curiosity. And I did see a thread titled exactly UNLV Bobby, and I was like, "Oh, did Foley post that?
Burn it down."
Yep. I don't know about that, but that's pretty funny.
All right, Pete. Good job, man. That was a good question. What do you got, Thorny?
I'm trying to find it. I'm having a hard time finding it.
Was it from Chris Hammond?
It was. What was the question? Do you know what it was?
I don't. I remember you saying it was from Chris Hammond.
Wait. Oh, yeah. He wants to know the odds the Montana State still gets a share of the Big Sky Conference title.
Oh, whoa. That's a heavy one.
It's a heavy one. Right here at the end of the podcast with no research. Answer that.
So, do you know the meme or the GIF where you see people doing math in their head and you see like all the complex equations? That's what my head's doing right now.
Yep.
What is the odds that Montana State has a share in the title?
I think it's decent because if the Cats take care of business, if we win our next 5, which I think we have a decent chance of doing, the Grizz is going to be a hard one. Davis will be a hard one. I think we take care of the next 3. The hiccup here would be Sac State, and like I mentioned earlier, I don't like just teams don't really just blow through the Big Sky undefeated. Sac State's got some really hard games coming up still. They play Weber. If Sac State drops 1, I don't see Sac State dropping more than 1, so I don't even know how to make an odd. I'm not a betting guy, so the odds are 10-1 ? That seems reasonable. I have no idea, but if Sac State only loses 1 more, it doesn't matter because even if we win out, they own the tiebreaker. But I guess he's talking about a share. So
yeah,
let me bump that up to like 5-1. That's a pretty good odd,
like
right?
20. Yeah. Okay. I see what you did.
I used to bet on horses a little bit. That's like my only betting knowledge. I just know the odds on a horse, and we have a centaur. So
a hobbled centaur.
That's true.
I'm gonna give us like a 30% chance of doing that. I think if I went with my gut just today, if you had to hold me on it, I say we're in the next 5 games we're gonna go 3-2. I'd be ecstatic if we went 5-0, but that's just how I feel today. So that would put us at, what is that record? If we go 3-2, that would give us 8-4 on the season, and I don't think that's good enough to share title, a part of the title. I think Sac is going to drop one game in the next. I don't know. Sac has the toughest schedule, especially the back half. So
they've been rolling, but eventually they're going to slip up. I think just because that's just what history tells us, right?
And they didn't have the staying power. It's not like we're talking about Eastern Washington here, or traditional power. They're skyrocketing right now. There might be bottle rocket that's just burning bright right now, but it's going to quickly fade. Who knows? I don't know. Troy Taylor's been fantastic, and we've covered that. But gosh, I don't know. Who's to say? So I still give us about a 30% chance. Excuse me, I said that wrong. A third, maybe 30% about being able to get a conference title in there. It's just so hard to do. It was interesting. Coulter Nuanez on his show today mentioned that within the last decade, it's been, and I looked at this yesterday, that he said, I'm not going to quote him, but the lion's share of the Big Sky conferences have been shared between at least 2 teams, if not 3. And those would be Montana State, Eastern Washington, and the Grizzlies for the most part. So I don't know. I give us about a 30% chance of getting a piece of that pie.
Yep. That's roughly where I'd put us if I had to put it in terms of percent. So it'll be hard to win out. I don't necessarily know if we'll win out, but if we do win out, yeah, we'll share it. But honestly, the Cats kind of control that, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think Sac will drop one. So it's kind of up to us, really. If we want to share the conference title, we can. If we take care of business.
No, that's really true. It is laid out before us right now. All right, Thorny, let's get us out of here.
Let's do that. As always, subscribe to us, rate us on whatever podcasting platform you listen to us. Follow us on Twitter, RRCatCast. You can find us on the Bobcat Nation under our recurring R&R CatCast thread. We try not to muck up the form with too much stuff, so we kind of try and keep everything in there. And we are on Facebook. I guess I should mention that. I never mentioned that. Facebook, RRCatCast as well. There's no N or and. It's RRCatCast. Same with Twitter. Other than that, yeah. Keep interacting with us. Keep listening. And I really appreciate you guys listening as always.
No, we're also looking for some sponsorships. I'll say it, Thorny, if you won't. If you have a business and you want to be associated with us, or if you would like for us to talk about your business online, please get a hold of us. We have a nice presentation we would like to send you. We're looking for some connectivity right there. So, we'd love to hear from you.
Yep. And if you're interested in that, probably reach out to email rrcatcast@gmail.com.
Cool.
All right. Well, let's end this like we always do. Go Cats.
Go Cats.